Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. This is your boy Ahmed. Hold on. Bitcoin is currently at 86,000 US dollars. And like I said previously, that we're most likely going to head upwards rather than heading downwards. A lot of folks thought that we're heading lower. Here is a snippet. Bitcoin is respecting this trend line over here. But what I really want to talk about is that every Tom, Dick and Harry is looking at these lower prices. I'm talking about 65, 70, 75,000 US dollars. Bitcoin typically doesn't behave like that. When the majority of the crowd is anticipating lower prices, what normally tends to happen is it tends to go up, trap these people, and then head downwards. So just knowing these markets and how brutally vicious they normally are, we could probably head up to higher prices of 94,000 US dollars. We're very, very close to forming a death cross. In the next week or two, we're going to form an official death cross. Contrary to the name, whenever we see a death cross, it normally means that we're going to pump into the death cross. Example A right over here was a death cross. We pumped into this death cross. Bitcoin went all the way to 49,000 US dollars and then pumped into the death cross. And another example is right over here. We pumped into the death cross. Let's have a look at the order books. And right over here is the order books. It's an indicator that shows the amount of buys and sells, the amount of volume, and the amount of bids and asks in an exchange. And if you zoom out, you can see the amount of bids and the amount of asks for Bitcoin. Sometimes I use order books and order flows to analyze where the price may head. Right over here, when Bitcoin was at 106,000 US dollars, there was massive selling pressure, huge selling pressure. Now we have positive inflows, positive order books. That means there's more bids, more buys than asks. As you can see right here, in the previous correction, we went down 32%, and this was massive buying pressure. And finally, in the Bitcoin lows, you can see right over here, there was massive, huge buying pressure. Massive. We can go further backwards during the 2020 period, the last previous bull run. And as you can see here, Bitcoin had a meteoric rise all the way to 63,000 US dollars. There was massive selling pressure all during this bull run. Then there was huge buying pressure during the dead cat bounce when we made a higher high. As of now, on the order books, there is more buying pressure than there is selling pressure. Whales, they sold into strength, and now they're buying into weakness. Ethereum, like we discussed in the previous episode, is in a parallel channel, and we've been just consolidating for the past 4 years. Asset classes tend to do this. They have periods of consolidation, periods of ascent, and periods of a downtrend. Ethereum, in my opinion, is one of the best asset classes you can ever get into. This is the Van Eyck real estate ETF. It went up massively during the pandemic. Literally every asset went up massively. It went downwards to sideways as there was an increase in interest rate hikes. And now a lot of participants are front running interest rate cuts. The Fed have cut 2 times, and now the asset class just made a new all-time high. Ethereum has been ranging for quite some time. On the order books, there are more buy pressures than sell pressures. There's a handful of sell pressures. However, there are more bids than asks on exchanges. This is the 4-hourly chart. We're still on a downtrend, ladies and gentlemen. My target still stands for Ethereum to go to 1,600, 1,700. This is dubious speculation, all right? This is a bit of hopium. We all need a bit of hopium in this long journey, yeah? So don't take this to the bank. On my right is Amazon. On my left is Ethereum. Now, Ethereum had a meteoric rise during the COVID and pandemic era. Amazon had a massive meteoric rise during the dot-com era. Believe it or not, during those days, it was far more ridiculous than what we have in crypto. Ethereum went down 81%. And ever since, it's had a abysmal bull run. Just been moving sideways. Amazon has the same setup. Amazon was struggling for quite some time to break above the range highs. And then finally, it broke out. Ethereum is struggling to break the range highs. Ethereum is the Amazon of crypto. It's the most stickiest asset in crypto. You need it for DeFi, you need it for stable coins, you need it for RWAs. Massive players are accumulating Ethereum. They're keeping the price artificially low so they can accumulate vast amounts of ETH. Let's have a quick look at the on-chain analytics. And every time this happens, time and time again, the weak hands sell into the strong hands. Short-term holders are normally extremely price sensitive. And as of now, they're capitulating into insensitive long-term holders. Here is another chart of the short-term holders. And as you can see, they've realized the most amount of losses, the short-term holders. They will sell into strong hands, and then there's going to be another reaccumulation zone. My target for Bitcoin still stands. We're heading to 94,000 US dollars. We're most likely heading higher rather than heading downwards. We saw fear and greed index peak for crypto and for stocks. This is not a period where we're going to see lower prices right now. If you want to be greedy, then be greedy to the upside, not to the downside. Fear and greed today is at 40. Just last month, we were at 25. On the 27th of February, we were at 10. The stock market was at 10. And remember, we saw a 30% decrease in the previous shakeout. And now we've seen another 30% decrease. Altcoins have been decimated. But I did tell my private members, get into safety plays a long time ago. And if you want to find out what those are, join our private members. We've outperformed your favorite influencers, your favorite YouTubers by a mile. We're going to have a quick look at the news today. Crypto markets are edging up higher. Bitcoin went to 88,000 US dollars. GameStop announces Bitcoin as a treasury reserve. I did say this before, and I did tell you guys, you're going to find zombie companies that are dead and buried, and they want to latch onto a new narrative, which is buying Bitcoin and placing it as your reserve. More and more companies are going to follow Michael Saylor. But you know what the biggest question is? We really need a Michael Saylor for ETH. This is the best time. This is literally the best time to find a Michael Saylor for ETH. We need someone that just constantly buys Ethereum. The SEC drops a case against Immutable, settles with Ripple. We have Nikita join Solana as an advisor to help launch and scale apps. Ripple Labs agreed to pay $50 million in fines to settle the SEC investigation. The SEC Crypto Task Force will hold 4 roundtables from April to June as they create more clear rules for the industry. Napster was acquired for $207 million to build a music metaverse. Some airdrops happened. Walrus shared new details around wall staking rewards. Kaito launched a Keto Pro mobile beta as the crypto search engine on the go. Wrecked Drinks tease a new flavored drink. Mintify launches its token. Plaza Chain shared a technical document for its stablecoin. And finally, we have AI crypto. Overall market is up 3% to 7.3 billion US dollars. I did say in a previous video that we found a floor price, and the very bottom was at 6 billion. We have honorable mentions like Virtual, AI16, Act, AGIXTT, Fartcoin led the mindshare, Nikita, BNKR, and Clacker. There was a subscriber that mentioned this coin. It's an AI agent where you can buy, sell, swap, place limit orders, manage your wallet effectively by just sending a message. You open a terminal, you sign in, let's say with my Twitter authorized app, you connect your wallet and simply tell it what to do. Swap USDC to Tether. It's going to take some time. They're still building. It's in its infancy stage right now, but you get the concept and you understand the idea. Market cap is at 23 million US dollars. Now remember, this is highly risky. You've got to put a tiny amount. These coins, most likely, majority of the coins go to zero. There's going to be 1 or 2 that are going to be multi-cycle plays like Chainlink. Quick overview of the news. President Donald Trump has threatened to increase the tariffs levied on the EU and Canada if they keep on working to do economic harm to the US after announcing 25% tariffs on vehicles and foreign-made auto parts. Despite the threat, crypto markets remain stable, with Bitcoin holding steady at 87,500. The growing threat not only raises concerns about economic growth, but also widens the gap between the US and Europe, whose leaders are meeting with Ukraine's President Zelensky. This is the Economic Policy Uncertainty Index. That's a tongue twister right there. And it's the highest it's ever been. It's been higher than 9/11. At altcoin era, we believe that this is extremely exaggerated. And markets are extremely fearful. Markets can be irrational longer than you can be solvent. We believe that we're heading upwards, sideways to upwards. Bitcoin is heading up higher, Ethereum is heading up higher, and your favorite altcoins are going to see a partial moment of relief. The two biggest liquidations are sitting at 100,000 US dollars and at 70,000 US dollars. What direction do you think whales and market makers are going to head to next? The altcoin season index is at 20. This is a good time, like I said in a previous episode, to start nibbling on some altcoins. DCA and buy into some altcoins. You will never, my friends, you will never, ever be able to catch the peak of bottom, the very, very bottom. So don't. That's it for now. Make sure to join our private members. Peace.